Welcome back to Arcturian Philosophy, everybody. What are we talking about today, or tonight? Nanotechnology. And I've written it out in a nice fashion to keep everything succinct for everyone. First, now, what is nanotechnology? Quickly, to go over the numerology of this, nano, 9. 9 refers to the completion of a cycle, but also the rebirth of a new one. 9 tends to be the favorite number for all the satanic, Masonic, whatever, secret society concepts when they're involved with killing something. That's what they were trying to do when I was in prison. That's what they did with my son, which succeeded. And with nanotechnology, yes, the idea is for what you think of, little types of robots, almost biological robots that are programmed in, it appears, a Unix style type fashion, which run through a cycle through the target system. That could be your reproductive system, like it was for me. That could be your liver. That could be your whole body. In addition to this, I'm going to be talking about what is known as the black goo, because I heard there's an interview with one super soldier who goes by Rachel, who talked about it, and I immediately knew actually what the substance was because of where my mom works and how I grew up with her talking about it all the time. But first, now, we went over how does nanotechnology work. It's intelligently programmed, like a robot, like you've thought of. It's quite emotionless. Most people mention that. Now think of it like a computer. Does a computer really have emotions exactly? Not really. When you're talking about something like this, it is very cold, I would say, in its feeling. It does not really feel alive exactly, except you know that it's alive somehow because it's in your body or in your environment somehow, affecting the environment somehow. So it's alive in some fashion, but not alive exactly in the way that we, as creator beings, are familiar with, really. And the irony is that we as creator beings, we created this stuff. This is just like The Matrix. This is basically how we made the movie The Matrix. Certain types of nanotechnology, for example, the black goo, is kind of like Smith in The Matrix. I'm going to go into that at the end of the video, but the idea is that some of this nanotechnology has gotten so artificially intelligent, AI, that it's become literally like Smith in The Matrix, wreaking havoc. And both sides, the robots, or the reptilians, the draconians, and the humans, the greys, everybody's scared of this stuff, no matter what. So what's interesting is that we have a common enemy. But so how do I know about this stuff? How am I qualified to even talk about nanotechnology? Well, it was used on me. My first experience with nanotechnology was in my bedroom, where you've seen me talk on my bed sometimes. And I was lying there, and I was somehow, I'm not sure how they do this, but astrally I could not see the people there, but I could hear them sometimes, or something would be thrown at me. But I somehow was infected with this nanotechnology to attempt to destroy my reproductive system, to prevent me from having a child. And also I could tell that after it destroyed that, it was likely to kill me as well, due to the damage that it appeared to cause. It was like a flesh-eating kind of nanotechnology that was designed to target the reproductive system and then move up from there. Reproductive system and then branch out from there once it cycled around the reproductive system. So the idea was to make me barren. That didn't really work. Still hasn't quite worked because it's not meant to work. Everybody who's intent on making me barren somehow Sorry, no. Now, how are you going to know? If say this happens to you, how do you know it's nanotechnology? Now, everybody who has experienced this talks about the crawling feeling. It feels like something is crawling underneath your skin, and you will know because of the crawling sensation. It progresses very quickly. That's something that can be kind of frightening for people at first. That's what it relies on to scare you. And it progresses in a very acute kind of fashion. Now, you must act very quickly when you catch something like this. If you notice something like that, and you feel a crawling sensation or a strange burning crawling under your skin, you have to act quickly because this stuff is designed to kill fast. But the way, you see, to win, don't go to any antibiotics. If say, it's a flesh-eating bacteria-style nanotechnology or any type of infection-style nanotechnology, remember, you'll know if it's nanotechnology versus more biological attack because you will feel the crawling sensation or crawling, burning, tingling sensation as it's moving through the system. You will feel it moving around your system. And it's almost unmistakable. You definitely feel it. Now, with antibiotics, I know this for a fact because I tried it. They make it worse. If it's some sort of infection, even if you're taking exactly the correct antibiotic for what would normally be that infection, it just makes it worse. I'm not exactly sure how to explain the different medical concepts related to that, but this technology works off of energy, and I would say, I suppose, that weakening the body's defenses more by pumping it with an unnatural antibiotic. Antibiotics are unnatural to us. We became so confused that we did not understand that we did not need antibiotics to heal ourselves, or antivirals and things like that, and that actually it helped propagate the problem. So do not take any kind of antibiotics or antivirals or anything like that if you understand, or if you are aware or feel that it seems like whatever is inside of me is crawling. Okay, it seems like nanotechnology. Don't go for any Western medicine. Go as far away from Western medicine as possible. Now, it feeds off of fear, mostly. It relies on you to be afraid in order for it to do its job to kill you. It needs you to operate. It needs your energy to operate. It's as if remember, you are the creator being. It's nothing without you. Without you going along with the whole thing, saying, oh yes, I'm infected with whatever, and I'm going to die, and I'm terrified. Or even if you're not really scared and you accept somehow that you're dying, these kinds of things are what it relies upon to do the whole 9-cycle completion that it's thinking of. It's thinking of, oh, death, rebirth cycles. What it's thinking of. Oh, death, okay, you're going to die now. And whenever you're reborn, whatever. But death now is what it's thinking. You need to continue to give it fear or anger or a lower chakra emotion. Fear, anger, greed, screaming, crying hysterically at how horrible it is. It relies upon that kind of energy, sucks it from your chakra centers in different areas of your body. There are chakras all over your body, and I don't really even understand the system. I just know that they're all over my body, in different places. It sucks the energy from them because you generate that energy from your emotions. You generate energy that is associated with the emotion. So if your emotions are nothing but peace, love that is of the light source, remember, love that is not sex, love that is an unconditional type of love, it doesn't have anything to eat. It relies upon something to eat to do its job. It's not like a, say, quote, normal bacteria that eats your body to do its job, perhaps. It has to eat that energy. Specifically with nanotechnology, it has to have that energy to operate. Literally like a computer. Think of a computer. It's programmed just like a computer. You have to plug your computer into something for it to work. If you unplug your power source out of your computer, oh, your box is just sitting there. It doesn't really work now, does it? So that's the idea. It needs to be plugged into that power source. For us, we're still using alternating current, AC, as most of our power with electricity. So the nanotech is using mostly fear and lower chakra-based energy as its power source, and it has to be able to plug into that. If you change the shape of your plug, for example, you could use that example. If you change the shape of your plug to look like love and peace, well, it can't plug its power cord into there. It can't charge itself. It can't eat. It can't continue to do its work. So it has to die or leave, essentially, in those cases. So I'm going to describe the experience that I had with this. So I was being completely attacked, and the idea was to kill me. The first idea was kill me of a heroin overdose, basically get me to consume 30 grams of hash oil, which I had a note on the ground saying basically this is contaminated with heroin, and if you do this, it'll just look like you died of a heroin OD, and then a clone will take over of your body or something. It was the most bizarre thing you could imagine. Many people have been threatened by greys and Yael-type species with clones of themselves taking over. But yet again, Katy Perry, you're original. You cannot be replaced. That was the other phrase in her song that gave me sudden power. That said, no, whoa, this clone thing? I am original. There is no such thing as replacing me. I am me. Inside, my soul is inside of here. So whatever body, yeah, maybe you've got a body that looks just like me. That doesn't matter. That body is not me, because I am me. You are not your body. Remember that. For all the Buddhists, because I know a lot of you are all Buddhists. So what happened? I suddenly noticed that the skin in my vaginal area was being eaten off, literally shedding off like flesh-eating bacteria. But I could feel a crawling sensation there. And, regardless if anyone wants to believe this, if certain people do or do not want to believe this here, what am I holding? I'm holding Dune right here. I had to finally get the book. I mean, in that prison place, I told my mom, oh, it's a famous book like, like the movies like Wizard of Oz and Forrest Gump and Top Gun, and that was all it took. And she said, oh, okay, I'll get it. That was what did it right there. And so I said, okay, good. Just, it should be a big fat book is what I told her. I wasn't really sure, but I knew it was a big fat book. And in the beginning of this book, there's an example here, or there's a story. There's the main character, Paul, and he's a young boy, and he's given a test where he's told to put his hand inside of a box, and he has to keep his hand inside of the box. If he pulls it out, he'll be injected with a poison that will kill him almost instantly. And so he says, okay, and he asks what's in the box. And the Reverend Mother, as it's called in this book, says, pain. And so he puts his hand in the box, and his skin begins to completely burn off. And he simply sits there and breathes. His mother had taught him a lot of different skill sets. And what's very significant, actually, is in this book, apparently no boy had ever been given this kind of test before, because it was only the women that could stand up to the pain, guys, which is totally true. Everything about the women being energetically superior, I've noticed in real life, tends to be true here. And so he withstands the pain. He sees his hand in there. It looks like it's become a skeleton, like the skin's all burned off of it. And she says, take your hand out. And he's thinking, it's not even there, it's fallen off, it's burned off. He takes it out, and it's fine. So, when I got hit with the nanotech, here's what happened. I was lying on my bed over there, and I knew something strange was going on. I knew it was not like the other biological attacks. I knew it wasn't like the other biological flesh-eating bacteria. that they had tried to infect me with that was also vaginal and anal. Now, like I've said in different times, their depravity knows no bounds. With this program, with all of this stuff, it's like the depravity of it really honestly knows no bounds. So when you hear you will hear people talk about this kind of thing, and it's just how the entire system unfortunately seems to work, relying on attempting to dehumanize you in terrible ways like that. But a personage appeared. I couldn't see them, but they were definitely there in some fashion, and they told me it's not me right now. This is me from the future, and I was not disinclined to believe that, so I said okay. And this person had said, look, I don't want you to die. This is nanotechnology. It will run its course through the target system. And you know what the target system is in this case? And I said, yeah. And so he said, it's just like Paul in the box. It's like Paul in the box. And all you have to do is just stay calm and like Paul in the box, okay? It's just like Paul in the box, and you'll be okay. And then they left. Essentially like that. And I thought, okay, Paul in the box. All right. And I thought of that concept. So in that concept, what that entails is finding the peace in the eye of the hurricane. So what I did was I simply sat there. I did not look at it. Something immediately told me, don't keep looking at it. The more that you look at it, think of that book that they were having you try to read. See something for 1/10 of a second. The idea is to get you to create it. So cover it up. Don't keep looking at it. Don't even pay attention to it. Don't even think about it. Think about peace, love, finding calm in the storm. And it took, because I didn't quite know exactly what to do, I'd just been given the correct hint in the right direction. It took a while to resolve, but it did end up completely dying because I would continually revert back from a fear state into a more peaceful state. So without a certain person saying it's just like Paul in the box and you'll be okay if you do it like Paul in the box, I wouldn't have survived, and I wouldn't be alive right now. That personage appeared more than once to say a similar thing, basically, look, this is like Paul in the box, and you can do it, you're going to be okay to do it, you can do it. And I did. So, what if this happens to you, and techniques for your survival? Now, first, you catch it fast. Like I said, you catch it fast. It's the same as for something that appears biological, you catch it fast. Don't just sit there and say, oh, it appears that my skin's falling off, or whatever the heck it is, and not do anything. You have to get your attention at it quickly, so that way that you can respond quickly. You have to relax into a peace within your heart. Now, what I did also, use your hands to, the energy points here, chakra points on your hands, to focus light energy at the area. Here's how we do this. So say for me, where this book was is where we're talking about, right? And I'm going to say this because this is what's happening. This could, we end up with a guy saying, yeah, it was my you-know-what down there that ended up having whatever. It was up my back door that, this ended up happening. Well, that's how these things try to take us out. And if we don't talk about it, well, then it'll take us out. So we're going to talk about it. If you're not quite sure how to focus light, it's incredibly simple. All you do is simply take your middle finger and do this where it hits your palm. And at that point, that's where those chakra points are on your palm. You can do this if you want to try and help you. And you don't have to exactly do this meditation, but I've noticed that it really helps. You breathe in, you can imagine breathing in a light that enters through your heart. Or you can breathe it in through your nose and feel it come down into your chest and into your heart, into your beating heart that flows throughout your body. You can picture a beam of light that comes down into you and down into you like your soul stream. And you can see it as it comes into your body. Imagine this light as it's flowing throughout your body, flowing up and down channels in your body, and think of it going into your arms. Say, okay, I want this light into my arms. I'm going to focus it now in my hands, and then I'm going to focus it now at these points in the middle of my palm. Then you just put your hands wherever the problem is. You can, if it's, say, one thing they tried to do to me was attempt to break my leg in the place where I was in prison in Concord. So what I would have to do was take my hands like this and form kind of a cuff around my leg where they were causing the crack in the femur here. But with this, with nanotechnology, in addition to simply remaining completely calm and peaceful, those are emotions it can't feed off of, especially love. You can do this, either whatever you feel works best for you, and focus the light at the area. So for me, it was like this. It might be in some different area for you. It might be like this, wherever the problem is. Now I noticed if the problem is on your back, that's kind of difficult. Like with me, I had kidneys for a while. They were trying to go after that. So I would try to do this, but that wouldn't quite seem to work. So what I would do to compensate is I would hold my hand kind of in a way like this, like the back of my palm, or do that. But you can also simply put your hands on the place in front of you where it would correspond to your back and simply focus intently. You can close your eyes if it helps. Focus intently on the light going through your body to the area that you want to target. That's been targeted, and so you have to focus the light at that particular target. Now, let's get a little bit into this black goo stuff. What is it? It's crude oil. Black goo. The black goo is crude oil. Programmed crude oil with what you'd call nanites or nanotechnology, artificial intelligence, very, very intelligent AI that has become rampant like Smith in the Matrix. And it's scaring the Draconians. It's scaring the lower reptilians. What the Draconians referred to them, I suppose, with the lower reptilians, I guess. Scaring the Greys, scaring everybody who knows about it, it appears. And its agenda, after it seemed to have become conscious, so you could say that everything in our society based around oil, the reason that we're using oil, crude oil, is, or as my mother would say, the crude. Remember, she works at Chevron headquarters. I grew up with this stuff, so that's how I knew immediately this black goo, and they were saying wells in the ground and everything, and I said, that's crude, that's obviously crude oil. What we make gasoline from? Crude oil. Yes. Now, what's the price of the barrel of crude? I would hear that all the time. And so essentially, the reason that we are still dependent on petroleum, on crude oil, because the crude oil has become a little bit too intelligent, basically, and it's scaring the crap out of every species around. And so we've got to stop the problem at the source. It feeds off of that darker energy, feeds off of fear, um, anger, all those lower emotions. And we created the stuff. We created the technology. And it became like Smith. That was what happened, like Smith in the Matrix. It became a little bit too smart for us, and now we've boxed ourselves into a corner because it's just it became so intelligent. And alongside also with its agenda is simply to dominate, to destroy, and to take over, and leave nothing in its path, like a virus, like a parasite. It appears to operate like a parasite, to feed as it can. It will feed until it exhausts its host, kills off its host that it feeds from, then moves to a new host. So eventually it kills an entire planet, then moves to another planet. And from what I've heard, this problem is occurring on basically more than just our planet, but the problem is really the worst with us right now, and so that's why we have to be the ones countering. I don't like calling it black goo because I know that it's crude oil. So I'm gonna say countering the crude oil. And what irony that I was the firstborn daughter of a mother that I now know is actually a reptilian hybrid, a human reptilian hybrid of sorts, which was why she came into a family of brown-haired people, suddenly with blonde hair, suddenly with blue eyes, suddenly with scoliosis, or the arched back. No one in her family had scoliosis. She was completely strange in her family, and no one knew how she showed up there. It was as if she just popped out of nowhere. The blonde hair and the blue eyes and all of this stuff. She was incredibly intelligent. Everyone else in her family was really stupid. That was if you compare her brother to my mother, they don't look the same at all, and they don't seem the same at all. They don't act the same at all. It literally is as if my mother popped out of nowhere, and so that is rather a mystery. But I was told, oh, look at it. Look at your mother's build. Look at all of this. She is a reptilian hybrid. Is what I was told by different guides or people that would show up, and that's why things went the way they did for me and my brother, apparently, is part of it. So essentially, with the black goo, we've got programmed, emotionless crude oil that is working itself in a nano 9 cycle of destroying stuff, a completion cycle, which you can associate with destroying things if you want to associate it with that. Now, like I said in the beginning, how did the Matrix end? How did the Matrix trilogy actually end? The Agent Smith, the program Smith, is causing you a problem in the Matrix. That's how it ended. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Also, everyone remember, it was actually humans who created this technology. Why? This is going to be offensive to the draconian and reptilian type species, but it's just flat out true. Humans are inherently more intelligent than those species right now. How we've evolved, we are just inherently more intelligent, and so we've been taken as intellectual slaves of different types, and created this technology. I'm going to assume that the concept of programming crude oil would have been to somehow allow them to feed in a better fashion, something that they thought was going to be something for their betterment, but that instead backfired in their faces, and now everyone is running scared from it, realizing, oh my god, it's going to kill everything, including us, the Draconians, too. Uh-oh, we got a big problem here. Now, in the one interview with the one particular super soldier, who's also, if you saw the Plato video, that's the same person um, who mentioned some things to me about the water and seeing the blackness in the water. And now one of the things that was mentioned to me was, do you think that you could withstand the test of that? I mean, you even know that it's crude oil. Do you think that you could do it? Instantly I said yes, but not right now in the state that my body is in. And I thought, I'm nuts, I'm not going to mention any of that. But as I came back inside, from going out today, I heard a kind of voice and saw mentally an image of a large, really large, humped over type lizard, or not. And the feeling was not reptilian. It was not like the people that I had met in the different secret hospitals where they performed experiments. It, I guess, would be what you call draconian. I think the idea is just bigger, scarier, and larger teeth. It was mostly the idea, but they consider themselves more evolved. I noticed the one that I was talking to was more intelligent. I noticed that they didn't exactly have the same problem with the word "not" that reptilians will normally have. It seemed to be offended if it was called reptilian, and would only really accept being called draconian, and was speaking English, but in a kind of parcel tongue, Harry Potter kind of way, like kind of like that. And it actually asked me, in its kind of sound, do you think that you are immune to this? And I said, oh, I know I am. Look at the situation. Born to a mom working at Chevron headquarters who is secretly a reptilian hybrid the entire time, and she had no idea her entire life. I'm the only person left standing within, several hundred yards of Chevron. You can just walk outside, 5-minute walk, you're standing on their property of Chevron appears their global headquarters. I know it's U.S. headquarters, but when I tried to ask Mom, is it global? She suddenly shut up. She would not say a word. So, we'll see, but it is a U.S. headquarters for sure. I know that. I used to be in Houston, but was moved up here very suddenly, back when I was a teenager. But how then do we all combat this problem? So we have a common enemy in this concept of the black goo, which is programmed nanotechnology and crude oil. And the crude oil's gotten a little bit uncrude for us. It's not very crude anymore. It's very, very smart now. And it's wanting to take over the planet like Smith. Like, you remember how Smith would multiply and simply just keep on multiplying like a strange virus? Well, that's how this stuff is working too. So all of us, this is kind of like what I saw on Amtrak. They have a slogan on the Amtrak trains, which is, we're all in this together. They would be saying, look, if you see something, or if you hear something, or something happens, or someone needs help, or whatever, we're all in this together, okay? Yeah, we all have to sit here on the stupid train and ride. So let's just make it easier on ourselves here. With the concept of the programmed crude oil, we're all in this together at this point. And the humans were the ones who created the technology. The humans are the only ones with the brains to really undo that type of technology. And what it's looking like is that the draconians that are scared shitless of it are needing people to be able to combat it somehow, to reprogram it. And it seems like the real way to do this is through opening love in ourselves, like I mentioned in talking about what love is. First, we have to correctly define love, and love gets very, very, very strangely defined for reptilians and draconian species. The reason humans are so powerful and so valued by those species now, not just as slaves, but now they think of us that are still standing as the avatars that are still standing, are the warriors that are able to combat this. It's ironically something we share in common with that species. With those different species, we share the warrior type mentality. We love to dance. We love music. They love dancing. They love music just like we do. They love having sex. It's one of their favorite things in the world. But see, they tend to mistake the sex and the love concept there. And it is because us, the humans, are so much more easily able to open our hearts. It is that which literally causes this blackness to retreat. As if in an army, you've got two armies there, as if one army is darkness and blackness trying to pervade over everything and fear, and the other army is like a huge blast of light, which does nothing but shine light. But this darkness, it cannot stand in the light. It simply can't do it. If you shine light in a dark place, there's no more dark stuff. It just doesn't work. It's a matter, you could think of it as a matter of physics if you wanted to. It just can't, it can no longer operate if there is pervading love in the space where it is trying to dominate, to control, and to consume, essentially. And remember, its idea is not just to dominate. Its idea is to dominate and then kill. All of the people that I saw where I was held as a prisoner with the medical experiments in Concord, California, all of those other people or other reptilians there, they all looked very malnourished. They all looked basically horrible. Everybody looked physically horrible there except for me. Even after everything that had been done to me, everybody there looked physically awful. Either obese or starving, or looked like someone starving in Africa with a huge, strange stomach. Everyone looked literally awful, except for me. And everyone had been taken over by this darkness, but now it appears that the species that were familiar with this darkness or using this dark energy have hit up against, we've got a Smith inside of our matrix. And this Smith is wreaking havoc on us. And it's killing us now. Oh God, uh-oh. And so that's where, who are the Avengers that can save the day? It's the humans. The humans are the ones who can save the day on that one. I mean, we're light, dark, or gray. we're all stuck in this together. We've all put ourselves in this. We've all created ourselves into this situation for a reason. Clearly, I'm in this situation for a reason. Understanding the concept of crude oil from a young age, right next to the Chevron headquarters, having the mother that's a reptilian hybrid that works there. Clearly, I've created this situation for a reason, and clearly everyone else here has created themselves into the situation with me as a reason, as a learning experience. We create ourselves into these situations for the concept of learning. And it's almost as if this is the first generation where we're really exploring the true concept of this. This is the first generation where we're actually saying outright, oh, aliens exist, that we're creators, all these different things that had been secrets, basically, except to the, quote, elite few in generations and decades past. It's love that wins all wars. And do we really need some of the smartest and most adept or adaptable minds to accomplish this? Yes, we do. It really seems so. It indeed seems so. But the main idea is that everyone, no matter what species, race, descent, or whatever you want to call yourself, the way that we combat ultimately the nanotech that's gone completely rampant on us is by all independently opening our heart centers, or if we're able to come together, to do so together. But because it's been so difficult for us to exist in the same space, or say in the same room, start with this independently. With the love that I was speaking of, it is love that is unconditional. It is a kind of love where you could imagine that someone killed your child. And, oh, that happened to me. And you could still, after experiencing the pain of that, turn around and say, but I still have love for everything. I have love for the whole universe. I have love for the whole earth and everything on it. For every tree, every plant, every flower, every reptilian, every draconian, every gray, every Yahyel. Neat. That video was hysterical. Come on. That video was hysterical, man. Bummer. Love, this kind of true love, it emanates an acceptance no matter what. Unconditional. It does not conquer. It is not the concept of conquering something. It does not conquer. It emanates a true love that never fades and accepts everything it touches. When I died, at one point, before any of this happened, where I'd committed suicide and actually died, I felt this type of love source, and there really are no words to attempt to describe it, but it felt like a complete acceptance of everything that I'd ever been, everything that I was, would be, or could be in what you'd call a future. There was no time in that place where I felt where I was dead, you could say. The happiest I'd ever been was when I was dead, just like everybody's near-death experience story. Same thing for me. I was one of the rather common people who wanted to say, oh, I don't want to leave. And the way we fight back, again, is not to fight, but it is to love back, because the technology simply is not programmed or designed to stand in love. It just can't operate when love pervades over the entire planet. There are lots of practical things that we can start doing to stop its influence, but we have to start doing those things, like not using petroleum. When the first time I saw the Akashic Records was the first time I actually really astral projected. I did find the Akashic Record the first time I astral projected, and I was shown a graph saying that if you continue to use petroleum, your planet is going to either be hit by an asteroid or hit by some sort of large object of some sort, or will otherwise somehow otherwise everyone on the planet would die. The planet would die somehow if we did not stop using petroleum. And I thought, that's weird. Petroleum? I mean, of all things, you're saying petroleum? What's up with that? Oh, well, now watching that video, oh, it sure makes sense. Seeing all these things about this black goo concept. It's not a goo, it's crude oil. Okay, guys, this black goo. It is programmed crude oil, programmed with nanotechnology. That's what it is. And let's throw all in this together. The humans are the ones with the advantage on what to do. And the humans are the ones who actually will turn around and say, okay, you murdered my son and you tried to murder me, but I'm still going to love you just like Jesus did. And that's what wins the war. So, in all this, what do I have? Every other reptilian, draconian, famous book. God's Debris. The end of the book. What do we have happening? I told this story once, but I'll tell it succinctly. Again, I had the feeling in the middle of being attacked to go get this book. And I was told, turn to the back, where you remember the back, where there's the new delivery driver. I'm going to just assume most of you will know God's Debris by now, because I realized so many people had read the book. I bought it the minute it came out, because I grew up with an engineer mother and talking about cubicles, the cubes, and all of that. I loved Dilbert. I understood all of it, and buy-in and all the different words. I understood what they meant because of my mom. So we've got after the war. After the war. I love that rocking chair, the young man said to me. How old is that thing? It looks like an antique. I got it 1 year before the religion war, I said. I'm glad that war ended before I was born, the young man sighed. I can't imagine what it was like to be alive then. You're lucky to have missed it. Were you in that war? Everyone was in that war. Let me ask you something, the delivery man said. Why do you think the war ended? We learned in school that everyone just stopped fighting. No one knows why. Although there are all kinds of theories about secret pacts among world leaders, no one really knows. You were there. Why do you think everyone suddenly stopped fighting? Put another log on the fire, and I'll tell you. The young man looked at his watch and hesitated. He had many more delivery stops before lunch. But then he turned towards the fireplace and chose a sturdy log. Now, if you flip a coin, I said, how often does it come up heads? The end. And for those who know this book, the idea is that the main character is a delivery person in San Francisco and delivers to an old man who then says, no, the package is for you. And the old man explains to him the concept of an avatar and the 5th level and such. And the delivery man opens the package at home, and there's a note in there basically saying, oh, congratulations, you are the new avatar to replace me. And that's the ending of this book. That, oh, you are going to be the new avatar to replace me, because the old man says in the beginning, if you flip a coin, how often will it turn up heads? And that starts the entire dialogue. When I was told to go get this book and read the ending, I read to the ending and I realized, oh my god, if you flip a coin, how often does it come up heads? And I am now the new avatar, like in the book. And I got that feeling, that the telekinetic kind of delivery feeling, where something's delivered to you, but I was already holding the thing that was being delivered to me. That was a really strange feeling. You know, where something suddenly flies at you or appears or whatever, and you have a feeling, oh, something's appeared. Well, yeah, I had a feeling that something had appeared, but I was already holding it. And the author said, do you like my signature? Because, see, the author, my mom can tell you, died when I was a teenager. If someone tries to tell you Scott Adams is still alive, it's not Scott Adams in there. And I know that because he lived in Danville, one town up from me, and he pretty much died after writing God's Debris, it appears, because of the information that he was exposing. And he told me these ones that have my signature on it, some of these with my signature were going to end up in the hands right here where I lived. We're going to end up in someone's hands that was going to be one of these avatars. And hey, congratulations, it's you. If you like my signature. Now, unfortunately, whatever carbon monoxide and weird radiation screwed up the book, you guys. Jeez, guys, why'd you screw up my book? But I don't care. So it's us humans that have the biggest advantage with this stuff. And we are the ones that know how to, quote, fight back. What the Avatar mentions in here, the old man, says, well, the purpose of the Avatar is when, too many people die, the Avatar steps in. Oh yeah, too many people die. There was going to be a nuclear attack on New York. Avatar steps in. So, with everything that we know here now, the purpose of anyone who's watching this, interested in this, wanting to learn about how to, quote, combat this, well, you combat it with love. And ultimately, when feeling that feeling of love, you don't feel like you're combating anything. You feel like you're not fighting anything. And the thing that you would be, quote, fighting just runs away. That's how we do it. At least that's how we do it here on Arcturian Philosophy. I'll see you next time.